that bottom 6 to oust Fluxo from their 4th spot. 106 points is quite tough to reach, because if you look at Virtus Pro, down in the 13th place, they've only got 52 points, so quite a journey for them to climb up. And we got to also remember, they're going up against the other teams from Group A and C. Obviously, they're going to be picking up those points as well, so it's not as straightforward. Every single game, these teams need to be in that final circle. Speaking of final circle, Red Hawks, if they want to stand a chance, they need to be in every single final circle with a minimum of 5 to 7 eliminations. And dude, that's tough, man. They only performed for 3 games on their first day of play.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how brutal this format is. You only get 2 play days in the knockout stage. Every single round that you kind of give away to your opponents, you need to make up for it twice as hard. And I think for Red Hawks, I agree with the calculation. We kind of went over the numbers behind the scenes, but I gotta add another caveat to that. I think a booyah is necessary for Red Hawks, right? Just in case, just as an insurance policy, as we head into game number 1. Again, the final 6 rounds before we find out which 12 teams will make it through. We're heading over to Bermuda once more, and for fans out there, you can rest assured that this flight path is very, very generous, straight down the middle.
Absolutely, and of course it's going to be fair and easy. EVOS Esports, though, they're the group stage leaders with 154 points at the very top. Everybody thought it was going to be Core Memory sticking it at the very top, but of course beating them with those 4 points, and Rasya definitely faced it with a huge smile on his face. The majority of the eliminations pulled away by the Wonder Kid, and this was that fair flight path that we were talking about. Peak totally conquered by Buriram alone, and Dragon splitting up very early in the game. I don't feel good about this.
You know what I don't feel good about as well, AJ? VP and Red Hawks. They both just dropped in the same spot, and we see very early gunfights, and this is gonna be very bad for Red Hawks if they don't make out of this alive. Ideally, if you can somehow beat VP, that would be great. We've seen Red Hawks pull off Miracle in the earlier rounds in day 1, but that's a day 1 thing, right? That's the thing, that's the unknown. But right now, I think VP have studied Red Hawks. They need to somehow make this work.
And of course, if the Bangladeshi players want to stand a chance here, they have to play the reversal here however possible. Plasma gun in the hands of Flicker. Shot up from up top. Great rotation by Fuwara. Has got the AUG in hand. Great range on the gun, and Flicker does not want to challenge him. But now all the players all together down on the ground. Fuwara with his head sticking out. This is danger zone, but he's managing the situation well.
Yeah. With very limited resources to work with, these movements are a lot more important. So Red Hawks go into a 3-1 split. They leave Flicker on the flank. Same as Virtus Pro, who have the same idea. So if whoever can catch the flanker first is going to come out on top. We see Diamond already going on the hunt. VP changing from 3-1 to a 2-2 split. Kutun will make first contact. Good damage being dealt. Fuara getting down by Blade. And now Red Hawks spring into action. Nameless also goes down. A trade comes from the side of Diamond, but VP are losing numbers.
Beautifully played. The revival comes through in the nick of time by Diamond. And he's going to get sprayed down. What a save coming on through. Esport is there with the double vectors as well. Great rate of fire. Damage not too much. But Red Hawks has got this in their pockets. 3 players taken out of the equation already. 1 more playing his chances up against 2. The M590 and the MP5. Exposi. Riptide Rhythm to break down their defenses, but that's just asking for trouble early. Kutush finds the knock. And Virtus Pro off on the back foot, and Red Hawks picking up a very, very, very important win here at the start of this game.
Feels like deja vu from game number 1. Blade drops back in just in time to loot the rewards, the bounty that the rest of his teammates have laid out on the floor alongside the corpses of the Virtus Pro players. And I gotta say, Nurjat saved that fight because the rest of his teammates were down and Nurjat clutched it. Thankfully for VP, someone was revived. The run continues for the Polar Bears, but it's not going to get any easier. Same can be said for Vision System because loss has them in the crosshairs.
Yeah, Vision System needs a miracle to qualify for Point Rush today, but they go up against one of the most dangerous teams out there in Brazil, and I dare say in the competition. But they are mowing them down. Unbelievable stuff. Rigby 245. Final player in here, round 1 picked up right quickly. And Vision System could not go in for the final blow, but they still outnumber the players of Lost. Only for the next few seconds. Rigby has got enough money to buy back his 2 other team members. But Vision System, timing is key here. And the guy that just got picked up mowed them down instantaneously. Lost with the instant recovery. M590 ain't enough for you, boy. Rigby with the MP40 should be able to make quick work of Andres.
And suddenly, in a blink of an eye, Vision System Andres is forced to run away. He does have enough coins to get a revive. A ring around Rosie. Can he do this fast enough before they clear him out around the corner? And there is just not enough time. Vision System, they fall in the hands of Lost, and off-screen, Virtus Pro gets wiped out.
Man had enough time to buy back the whole world. But a misclick for sure. Not even a single revival, and Vision System out. They were already at the very bottom of the leaderboard. I guess that is exactly where they will stay. Unfortunate for them, but what a start, and holy hell, what a recovery from Lost.
Recovery from Lost and Red Hawks, right? Both teams were at the back foot in their respective 4v4s, and both of them recovered. This is the start we expected from Lost, but this is the start we wanted for Red Hawks.
Oh yeah.
That difference, that contrast is what's going to make this a lot more interesting with how Red Hawks are rotating right now at Shipyard, but south of them, it's going to be Team Falcons and Movie Star R7. That is going to be a challenge.
Ami Tomake Balobashi, Bangladesh. This is exactly what we need out of the squad. But here comes another deadly predator up in the air. Falcons, they want to fight. Question is, does Red Hawks have enough in their arsenal to shut them down? Dragons, on the other hand, up against Buriram earlier on. And it looks like it was deadly snipes all around for Moshi, knocking down player after player after player, picking up those crucial points for Buriram.
Thank goodness Dragon Esports are still in this. I'm not really sure about the state of Red Hawks though. Falcons, they are very aggressive. You're not ready, they're going to tear you apart and into pieces. It's going to be the case for the side of Red Hawks. Kutush also goes down, and suddenly Red Hawks have been sliced in half. But Movie Star R7, they hear the gunshots, they are here to fight the Falcons.
Well, two can play at that game, says Movie Star R7. They want to be the movie stars here as well. One deadly predator out of the skies. Joker, BSK in hand. Great range for the gun, but fails to find any connection on those shots. They've got the players of Falcons flanked already. Peter, unfortunately for him, does not find any tags under the player up top, but here comes SWAT, and he is the clutch king of R7. Will he get the shot in? Games King, M590 in hand. Unfortunately, it is their own player that gets knocked down to the ground, and Falcons standing their ground.
Kororo just now broke his ankles, but they brought him back up. See the rotation from Della. Star player from yesterday, Joker, finally pulls the trigger, and that's on fire down. Games King actually got Peter as well. Two members of Falcons down, but they need the confirmation, and they get it. Kororo now hightails out of there. Hides behind the building. It's him and Limit, and a lot of members of Movie Star R7 that they need to surgically cut through, but this is not going to be easy.
Limit has got the right guns here, the VSK and the AWM in hand. He just needs the right opportunity, but he's also waiting for the rest of his team members to back away so that they can play that game of revival. He's buying the squad more time, and as he stays hidden, it looks like Movie Star R7 is not detective in this situation. Opportunity to get those snipes as the players are up in the air. Can Limit hit it?
They do see Limit now. Finally spotted out 1v1 Limit with a flick and 2 shots in a row. Of course, Limit is the one that wins that one now. A free point for Team Falcons, number 5, but that is going to call to attention the rest of Movie Star R7 to kind of to come and tie up loose ends. Limit now will be surrounded. Games Kings is going to be player number 2 to make contact right around the corner. Limit fights it now on the Joker, but it's just not enough. Movie Star R7 finds their 4th point, but Team Falcons have bought enough time for Kororo to make a run.
That's a masterclass in distraction. That's a masterclass in buying your squad more time. But of course, Kororo, as he gets away, I believe he flew straight into the crosshairs of Red Hawks, so we'll have to wait and see if or not Falcons can stay alive a little bit longer. It looks like the jump pad has been invested in as Kororo finds a good exit out of there. Flicker does not get that shot, and Falcons will live to tell the tale a little bit longer here. Time and time again, we've seen this out of Falcons, almost wiped out at the start of the game, and they just make that huge comeback with the booyah at the end.
Yeah. And just to add on to that, that was exactly what happened on their very first game. On day number 1 and the 3rd game. So history could repeat itself. If you want to take out any sort of opponents, you got to cut off the head of the snake. In this case, the head of the Falcons. As Dragons Esports make their rotation, runs into a wild Kutush who just got revived and now will have to be revived again.
Yeah, man, Dragon off to a decent start here. First elimination, squad on that full revival Thankfully, Seamox was left standing and he could bring the rest of the team members back in here. But RRQ, very stealthy, very quiet, picking up the most needed weapons. You see a double AWM setup in their hands here at Bermuda. It is going to be absolutely deadly, especially in the open grounds later on as this circle comes into a close, dragging all of the players towards the area of either Bhima Sakti or Clock Tower in a bit.
And RQ is a team that even they have said in an interview, always second, never first. In this case, for the side of AGAL, they've also have tasted that. But R7, they're fighting back, 2 down the side of AGAL. Ew, not willing to let this go. He has a lot of memories, past memories on the international stage, and this is going to be one that he refuses to leave in regret. The rest of AGAL gets back up. Movie star R7's forced to run.
Oh, what a damn backup that was, due with the instantaneous shot as he whipped out that AC-80. But now, Chinoy on the chase here. AC-80 in his hands. That Oscar, that Valiant Dash was just used. So he doesn't really have an option for a last-ditch effort for the defense. But thankfully, AGL does not want to stand by and play around with him. Hax has an opportunity to go for a revival, but the man's absolutely broke now.
Not just broke, he also does not have any medkits to work with. The blue is going to be the one that takes him out if this continues. So he's desperate to find any sort of resource, any sort of coins. It's going to be a race against time. As lost, they actually picked up a member from Team Falcons earlier on. The Falcons now down to 2. Enough points on the side of On Fire. Peter gets brought back once more. Falcons still trying to recover.
Yeah, on the back foot here for Falcons. But, you know, it really matters not Lost and Falcons, both at the very top of the leaderboard. I think they can sleep the whole day and still qualify for Point Russia. So this is just a warm-up game at the end of the day for these two squads. Phenomenal performance on their day 1. On Fire, take it away. Nando 9. Car from afar. Accurate shots, not wasting those splits at all.
So Peter is actually in the middle of the circle. Falcons basically forced into just pure survival mode. It's no longer about fighting for points. It's about fighting to live long enough. Kunto, you surely see this, right? Karoro now and to fight Valiant Dash being used. Sudden Barros had to ruin that 1v1.
Aye, what was that? Valiant Dash did not find the connection with the glue walls. Tried to use him like a Tatsuya. Put himself in danger by turning his back onto his opponent. Easy knockdown. AGAL though, in shooting distance. Karoro's going to be in a lot of trouble. Has the M590. He's going to break down the glue wall, but Payne is going to be keeping AGAL a tad bit distracted here. And View takes that high ground position. He wants to flank around with those snipes. Question is, can the rest of them squeeze themselves in? Because this circle is starting to hurt.
Yeah. Double reparator being used early on. Barros trying to provide support fire alongside Dew. As Motovia slowly falls behind, but unfortunately for the rest of Payne, they might have to force a contact. As Peter gets dropped down into incredibly low Noda as well. They do manage to heal back up, but still not finding any opening against AGAL. Barros now jumps into the time turner. Saifa actually loses his fight, and now they're going to play footsies, but no one does it better than Noda. AGAL ends up losing 2, and now Peter trying to fight. Taste that, Chinoy. 3 down for AGAL, and Payne survives.
And AGAL, one final survivor here, potentially straight into the hands of Dragons. R7 Della taken out of the equation. All thanks to Peter. And Movistar R7 out of the race in the 10th spot. Spain makes their way up towards that high ground. Dragons remaining silent, not wanting to play a little bit of a misstep here. Either way, when they play that rotation, they have to come across either Payne or put it up, and that's going to be most definitely painful for the Dragons.
I just got to say, the Red Hawks are single-handedly contributing to the revival stats in the game. They have so much revives, but it's good for them, right? Still in the game, but the window is definitely closing as we now turn our attention to Dragons Esports finally making their way towards where the war zone is. Payne Gaming and Laws now fighting. RRQ also part of this conversation. Just getting a knock onto Rigby, but rescue will be here. Rigby should be fine.
Playing with the elevation, smartly done here by Lost. And that recovery is going to be instantaneous as well. They do tank a little bit of damage from the blue. That's not going to be too much that they cannot shrug off. Problem is going to be still Peter here. looking for the gatekeep. And I do agree with you, man. Red Hawks, what a performance on the revival so far. We have asked for them to get into that final circle. That's exactly what they're trying for. Now Get High, going rampage with the grenade launcher. M79 in hand, taking away one life. Adam down as well. Nejad has got the big guns in hand. Grenade launcher in the hands of Red Hawks is going to give them a huge advantage here.
Red Hawks did lose Flicker thanks to RRQ, who decided to join in as party number 4. The BRU are the biggest winners out of this all. Most players can't even get to them where they are. Get High somehow getting Blade as Noki wants to steal it but could not do so. Blade falls, Red Hawks down to just 2, and Onyx will have to find a way out of this because Buriram have guarded all the main entrance.
And Dragons finding Nejad as well. Unfortunate for Red Hawks, but Pain Gaming makes the exit first. In the 8th spot, Red Hawks with their final survivor left in here looking for the next zone and has found it already. Question is still going to be, does Kadush has enough? Because you get revived with those 2 blue walls and the P90. I believe that's all he has. Riptide Rhythm breaking down the defenses of Peter and the backstab. Loss is still in it as Falcons will falter in 7.
Good shot from Mao to stop Haone. And now Lost have to make a decision. Do you abandon him or do you bring him out? There's no saving pride. Haone in this game. Mao takes him out. Red Hawks eliminated in 6th place. RRQ finally showing their presence. Rigby has all his glue being melted. RRQ just sprays them down. Taste lead in this. And Nando Knight cannot survive. Unfortunately for Lost, this is where it ends.
Yep, they lost that one up against the Indonesians who were desperate for a booyah for themselves. But the surprising ones are the team from EMEA. Dragons Esport, 7 eliminations strong, looking for that final circle in the top 3. This is what we need. This is the kind of improvement we wanted out of Red Hawks, but we'll have to wait for the rest of the game from the day. For the time being, it's the silence play, and Dragons will find the circle, but they also find Buriram running out there.
And Buriram will take initiative. Actually, a decent trade at the very start, but Dragons quickly overwhelmed as Dus decides that he also wants a piece of the pie. Maybe RRQ's intervention will be enough for the Indonesians to start the day out with the Booyah. Kiba ends up going down. Get High still around, but it's him and Moshi. Can they pull this off? A 2v3, Moshi in the red and Get High desperately trying to hang on. They just cannot pull it off. Abai brings RRQ to a Booyah in game 1.
RRQ with their very first Booyah here at EWC 25. And you cannot ask for anything better. They start the day off from the 12th spot. And obviously, they're going to be getting those points. One of the best Indonesian squads. Some may argue the best, of course. They could not get to the championship this time on FFWSC because Onyx snuck that one away. But they're most definitely going to hit the big numbers here.
Some people forget that RRQ placed 2nd in the recent championship. And that's why they always say, why are they always 2nd? Why never 1st, right? You look back at the track record of RRQ, they are always in the top spot, but when it matters the most, RRQ falls short. This is a story of redemption. A team that built a legacy, that set the benchmark for the Indonesian region, now have bred new blood that overtook them locally, but they also kind of missed the feeling that when they were still at the top.
Yeah, the 2nd spot curse also infecting their brothers from Indonesia. We saw EVOS Esports last year at EWC 24. They did so well, but of course Falcons beat them to the championship. They walked away the 2nd spot. That was very impressive, and they have not dropped their momentum at all. They've kept that going, and now with the acquisition of the Wonder Kid, they look absolutely dangerous. They ended yesterday at the very top of the leaderboard, and now they are the squad team. But we're going to be taking a quick short break here. When we come back, it's going to be better than baby.
Double kill.
Question is going to be, do we see Buriram bucked into R7? Movistar R7 dangerously close to Marvelworks.
Yeah. It's a good time to also talk about Kiba's history. Previously with Onyx, it was a big part of Onyx. In fact, last year they he attended EWC for Free Fire 24 with that squad, and they had a very underwhelming performance. And right now they're on the other side of the aisle. And in fact, even yesterday, Onyx tried to mess up RRQ's momentum for Booyah, and they ended up, it was RRQ, it was a Movistar R7 that pulled through. We get a ping with the Arvon that could be courtesy of BRU as they are heading towards Crossroad, but they will run into Movistar R7.
Yep, now Buriram trying their best to get away here. Movistar R7 definitely in shooting range, and Della is the first player to be found. This is not good for business. Jonah also finding the tags onto Adam, gets the elimination as well. Fighting two squads at the same time. Not the best idea here, but Buriram has no choice. Hax runs on in, finds the sniper of Buriram. The rest of them leave him high and dry. They're looking for a safer spot to play. Games King, final survivor, double glue wall, looking for the pickup.
Unfortunate, Hax needed to confirm Moshi before anything else, but
good play.
Backup of BRU was just too fast, so R7 ends up getting nothing. They might lose Joker. Thankfully, he's able to launch himself away in time. BRU saving Moshi, and they keep the run going. But it bought enough time for Onyx to move away, but that also might just funnel them straight into Virtus Pro.
Great recovery for both Movistar R7 as well as Buriram. Games King going for the pickup instead of finishing off Moshi. And Buriram looking at that opportunity, went back in there for the instant pickup just so that they don't have to be on the reset. Moshi gets to keep all of his loot and coins. So neither one of their progress disrupted all that too much. Of course, Movistar losing two players to the side of Buriram wasn't all that too fun. And like you said, Onyx playing that recovery. But now Virtus Pro finding pain. Will they get taken down early once again? Riptide Rhythm going far and wide, unfortunately, for Exposing.
And he's holding his ground very well. He's taking down the glue walls of pain to discourage them. But his glue wall just now prevented Peter from getting a potential shot in. This could be a big flank. Boonjim and Nameless, they have the right idea. Are they going to run into pain? No, Goose exposed. He was not ready for that. The glue wall getting popped up. He has to isolate in his hands, but it's instantly broken down. Peter ends up taking Diamond somehow. And now VP forced into a bit of a defense mode. Glue wall melters all drop down. VP pushes them forward.
Yeah, fantastic grenade pop here. And straight through the glue wall. Finds Gus for the M590. Looking for Peter as well. Glue wall broken down once again. Peter, no cover for him whatsoever. Boonjim left all alone. M590 for the win, but Virtus Pro unable to undo the pain Esports delivered.
And that one is going to hurt. 2 rounds in a row, Virtus Pro got virtually nothing.
Oh, no.
They're going to end this round with 55 points. And that is still quite far away from a qualification into point right. They will have to talk about this. They saw 4 out for Boonjim and nothing changed. Onyx now gets a rematch against BRU right here at the Arsenal. But BRU, they do have someone positioned inside the compound. It's going to be Jonah, and Adam sees this. But what is Onyx going to do?
Moshi on the flank, looking for Crime. AC-80 in the hands of Crime. He just needs that double shot. Perfectly aimed at Moshi's head to instantly cripple the flanking capability of Buriram. And both teams playing this absolutely safe. Buriram finally going in for the call on that rush, but the glue wall stopped their own defense for the side of Onyx, and they have to retreat. Grenade popped out, M79 in play. The grenade finds the tag, and Wasana does not manage to recover. Buriram with only Moshi left in the mix here. Pickup just not possible. And man has to run for his life.
Very, very decisive call from Onyx, and that is going to pay off big time, wiping the floor with BRU. And this is where I gotta stake my allegiance. I'm gonna state my allegiance.
Yeah.
I agree with what one of the panelists said just now. I agree with Gideon. I think, you know, BRU, we all collectively have unanimously said that this is the only team that every single time they don't show up in a round, we said that they're saving stress. But I disagree. I think at this point it's fair to say that BRU, teams are catching up to them, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think Buriram, at this point of time, it's not that, yes, the other teams are catching up, but also the meta has been messing with Buriram for a long, long time. Wasana used to be known as the deadliest hard hitter out there. First we took his Drogon away, then we took his Tatsuya away. How much more will we torture this boy Wasana?
I don't know, Brazil has won 2 years in a row. It's about time we get something back, right? they were the reason, or I hope they were the reason, Skylar got back into the meta, and now Holmes is buffed. You know, Intel gatherers have all been buffed.
Yeah.
See Falcons up against RQ. Abe actually took a shot in the face. As we take a look at a bit of a highlight, some good engages earlier on, but we're going to keep our attention on what matters more. Falcons actually taking down members of RQ.
Yep, finding the first one, but RRQ has got decent enough distance between themselves as well as Falcon to hightail it out of here. Got to fight up against the blue though. Tanking damage from the second circle isn't going to hurt that too much, so RRQ not really playing big risk gameplay here. Just needs to go for that long rotation round. Unfortunately, R7 might just bump into them, so we'll have to catch up with that action in a little bit. Aone on the bike, making a lot of noise, but thankfully nobody around them to find the Punisher with the snipes.
Funny enough, there is a UAV hovering on top of them, and we saw a loot drop as well, an airdrop. They are going to be right smack in the middle of two teams, Dragon Esports, Vision Systems. Well, make that 3 teams because AG, AL are around the corner. That is a big shot from the AWM Zyro, making his presence known. Pain Gaming in the far horizon, but I think Onyx are also in a very safe spot. If they go down southwards to get to the circle, they are going to eventually run into Pain Gaming, with the exception that I think Pain Gaming, they do have a bit of elevation to work with.
Consistency out of Brazil has been phenomenal thus far. Pain Gaming just one of those top performers, one booyah in the bag, and they don't look like they're about to slow down. 87 points in total in their pockets. And they have got literally 5 more games to pick up points, and they don't look like one of those stragglers, right? Game after game, you see them hitting those high numbers on eliminations, whether or not they find that final circle.
It's been the field medic this game for RRQ. 4 revives and counting. So RRQ, they, even though have the full squad still in the game, they have been getting picked off left, right, and center. So Pain Gaming makes that rotation. Onyx most likely will end up dodging them and having elevation once they get to where Pain Gaming are. There is a choice that Pain Gaming could make, right? Take the zip line down to the next location, close to a vending machine, but far away enough from the rest of the teams.
This next circle is going to be crucial. Teams all spread out on the map. It's been moving west side thus far, and usually the game does throw us off a tad bit, but a high potential of moving just towards the outskirts of Brasilia here. Pain Gaming has to deal with Onyx, whether they like it or not. And just on the outskirts of Brasilia, the circle finds AGAL as well as Dragon. Vision System in there as well, but I don't know what kind of miracle they can pull off here. They just don't have enough points in the back.
They could play spoilers, right? Like what Alpha 34 did yesterday. The early encounter between RRQ and Lost, where we saw on the feed itself, Lost getting 2 pickoffs in a row. Haone dealing some critical damage to RRQ at this stage of the game. Again, they got the full revive, but at this point we are more than 10 minutes in. Falcons now arrive, and Kiba, he's not even ready for this. He realized that 3 people shot him back behind him. Quick backstab and a 3-point. Yeah,
poor boy just got revived, had the P90 in hand, just 2 glue walls, refused to use it, could have used it, but now Red Hawks. Bangladesh, can you go up against one of the most lethal Brazilian squads out there? Glue wall melters all laid out, but Flicker, the flank just not working. Riptide Rhythm breaks down absolutely nothing as lost. Pulls the long flank around the right-hand side, down towards the lower ground. Red Hawks pulling a very quick trick here as they fake a lower ground rotation, but they stay up towards the top. Lost not falling for that.
Jig is up though. Haone sees Flicker. He knows what Flicker wants to do. So starts it off with Glue Wall Melter. Take out that cover to force Flicker deeper into the battle. They want Red Hawks to fight honest, not dirty from long range. And that's where Lost thrives the most. Rigby, Raja mentioned multiple times, top 3 Russia of Brazil. If they can funnel Red Hawks into the gun barrels of Rigby, it's going to be beneficial for Lost. Nando 9 got a top ground cover, Lost in an advantageous spot.
Yeah, Kutush. Fingers crossed he's got that Supermed in his hands. Nando 9 taken out of the equation. Great play by Blade. But now here comes the reversal as well as Anaram finds Kutush. Blade down on the ground as well. Revenge is sweet and pretty instant. And Red Hawks will falter in the hands of Lost.
Lost came in prepared. That was exactly what they wanted to achieve. In the meantime, even off screens, we see Duels just got knocked by Vision System. Lost did have to pay a bit of price for that. one member being eliminated on the equation, but small price to pay. Peter getting literally ran down and charged right through. On fire now, tries to redeem it. Joker actually getting tagged from behind. Limit finding Della as movie star R7 takes the wrap for Falcons.
Yeah, without Della, question is how can they play this game of survival? Games kick back in a way, the spot player down, and Hack has no choice, and a double snipe by Limit will put them in the bag. On fire with the support gameplay as well. AGAL making their approach here. And Falcons need to play this careful. Do they play the circle or do they go hunting for the players of AGAL? Either way, RRQ lies awaiting them inside the next circle.
And Falcons with that wipeout freeze up their rotational path. And now they're gonna kind of fast track that. Instantly punish. Andrex is the one that spoils the party. And Abai, just stay still, my little boy. Do not make a move. Wow. Because Vision System are making their presence known. Falcons distracted. Andrex once more with a second collection. Deal steals that away. But Kororo, too late to realize that they made a grave mistake. Abai just needs to wait.
I said Vision System needs a miracle. You said Vision System needs to play. Spoilers, they are doing both. 7 eliminations strong. Vision System needs to avoid that circle though, flying straight in towards Dragons Esports. We need to catch up with Dragons in a little bit because they are getting a tad bit too comfortable here. Lost on the other hand. They don't have the numbers, and RRQ surprisingly out in 8th.
Oh, that was pretty funny. Kororo turned around, did a 360 and saw him and just blew him up. Another fight, Vision System now against Lost. Rigby actually getting gunned down. This is not panning out the way that Lost wants. 10 elimination. The blue wall goes down. Vision System showing up late, but not too late. Lost is out.
Oh, I don't know if it is not too late, but it looks like they are wrecking some of the opportunities for the big squads here. Dragons now looking for Vision System. And they had the vision to strike early, but the solid blue walls erected to trap them in the container. They back away. Vision System though, tossing in those grenades is going to be crucial at this point. Dragons will pull up their own blue wall to avoid the damage.
This is going to be a heck of a confrontation. I don't think we've seen these two teams duke it out 4v4 until this point. Now obviously Vision System have more eliminations, and for Dragons, they need to start catching up. A bit of chip damage being dealt down. Jota actually moving forward, trying to progress. But for Dragon Esport, those blue walls, they're gonna melt in an instant. The bombardment commences. Shix once more gets a good snipe, and Dragon Esport trapped in their own building as Vision System cleans up house. That's an extra 4 points on the docket, 13 for VSC.
What a miracle, Vision System! And now full recovery for them. Shix has got the Superman on him. Backs away, but AGAL knows exactly what's up. Tossing in all of those glue wall melters, making sure those defenses do not stand erected for long. And Dew with the snipe from afar, he's not the guy who gets the connection. It is Tinoy, Cypher, the combo, absolutely deadly. And they want more. Flirting with the blue, and Shix makes the wrong decision. But either way, there's no running. AGAL puts an end to it and pulls a booyah in the bag.
And AGAL needed a win. Sooner or later, this was also a team that had gone through trials and tribulation on the international stage. A few years ago, Dew was at the height of his career, finishing, I believe, top 4 in FFWS 2022 in Bangkok, Thailand. And ever since then, he has not been able to return to that prime form, whether it's an individual struggle or a team synergy problem. AGAL right now is his best chance, and with this booyah, they are going to remind everyone that they have been contenders all along.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, what a great play from the teams that desperately needed the points, right? 3 out of 4 teams in that final circle are currently sitting in the bottom 6, and Vision System with a stand-up performance. Unbelievable stuff. We have never seen them in that mode. I guess desperation sometimes brings the best out of you.
Not only that, when we finished match number 1, I believe the coach of Vision System, they gathered everyone around and gave them a pep talk. Maybe that was the boost that Vision System needed to get close to the top 3. A booyah would have been great, but this second place finish is good enough for now.
Absolutely. We've got an interview on the stage for you guys as well. Aski and I will.
แบบเราจะเจอทีมที่เก่งกว่าเยอะช่วงนั้นก็อาจจะแบบว่ามีคนที่เก่งกว่าเราเยอะมากเลยอะไรประมาณนี้แต่ก็พัฒนาตัวเองมาถึงจุดนี้ได้ครับ
In Buriram, he's part tactician, part stormbringer, trusted by Gehai, Moshi, Yoena.
อย่าแบบ เป็นผู้เล่นที่แบบแข่งไปนานๆเลยครับสอนแบบว่าตั้งแต่ตอนเข้ามาแรกๆเลยครับเพราะทุกคนมันเป็นคนที่แบบประสบความสำเร็จมาแล้วมีประสบการณ์มีอะไรแบบผมเข้ามาทีนี้ครั้งแรกก็ไม่ได้มีอะไรเป็นแชมป์หรืออะไรเลยครับแต่พอเข้ามาทีนี้ก็พี่เขาได้สอนหลายอย่างให้ก็แบบทำให้ผมเป็นผมทุกวันนี้
A rusher with a plan, a warrior who thinks. This is Wasana, Buriram's quiet strategist.
ก็ผมก็จะทำให้เต็มที่ที่สุดครับพวกผมหวังแชมป์ไม่เลยครับแต่ก็จะทำให้เต็มที่ที่สุดแล้วก็เอาแชมป์ไปฝากทุกคนให้ได้คือมันวัดกันในหน้าเกมอย่างเดียวเลยว่าแต่ว่าใครจะแบบเหนือกว่าก็คือแบบจะได้มาแข่งถึงทุกวันนี้ครับ
ปลาเขียวให้กูไม่มีระเบิดนะวิ่งไปชิดดิโหลชิดดิกูหน่อยชิดดิกูหน่อยเขียวอยู่ไอ้ปลาระเบิดอยู่มากูไปชิด100เฮ้ยเดี๋ยวจำเหี้ย10ไปเนี่ย
AGAL lock in our second Imperial of the day, and things are really starting to heat up because the bottom of the bracket are hungry. We have gotten Imperials from teams that are currently sitting outside of that threshold of top 12, and they know they need those points. So all of a sudden, we're getting a very interesting match day where it's not a battle between the types. They are harmless. Please leave us alone when we get to the final stage. But Buriram fans, I don't think I'd be concerned.
This
Actually destabilizes the bottom section of the top 12 because the points are not going to the top because
first.
Start to see a more finalized list of our top 12. Now, Neptune, I know you're the man of numbers. I love to ask you this kind of stuff, okay? Who is looking safe here? We said yesterday that there was a safe threshold, which was, I think, 130 points on the map. So just looking at the leaderboard now, who do you feel is looking pretty safe? Like, where do you think is the safe cross line?
So I guess at this point, for the moment, it is Pain a gaming spot because currently
this map numero 3. It's time to head into map number 3. Here we go.
Of Group B, not a single booyah. Hustle.
Okay with that.
Been tearing it up
For their heads, but they should. 6 of them. Red Hawks, one of them. They need a miracle for sure. Vision System just showed us what sort of a miracle they are capable of. And obviously, we want to see a little bit more from the Chilean squad. AGAL, though, at Foundation. And very early gunshots here. Not so sure exactly who's aiming for their heads, but they should be pretty safe. I believe we saw a player from the side of RRQ quickly sneak away from Foundation. Very sneaky from RRQ, trying to take over 2 compounds at the same time.
Yeah, it was a buy. He fired a couple of shots, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go back to where my team likes the most, which is Refinery, and that has always been the headquarters of RRQ. Goes actually out in the open, finds an airdrop. Bit of a lady luck to say, fortune smiles upon the bold. Pain Gaming so far have really been tearing it up.
Well, this next circle should give us a rough idea as to how the movements of the squads will go. Circle 1 still pretty balanced in the middle. Just moving down south side a tad bit more. And
Red Hawks.
The read is pretty accurate from a lot of these squads, but Red Hawks getting into a little bit of a tussle here at command post. Not the best of things to happen to the squad that needs a miracle in terms of points. And Nejad could not get away. Climb dropping down like the god of death with the M590 delivers exactly that.
I felt like Red Hawks made the wrong read. I guess command post is an Onyx place to be at. They made the rotation straight in. And now Onyx are going to chase down as much Red Hawk members as they can. Kutush will be the first point of contact. Ducks away to the sub. There is a chance for them to lead Onyx into Pain Gaming, but if you are Red Hawks, you cannot be in a position where you are just running for your lives. In this case, they don't really have a choice. Kutush puts up the glue wall, but it's only a matter of time before Noki blasts through that, and Kutush will just have to fight for his life. Doesn't have the health bar to do so. 3 points for Onyx.
I had the right gun, just did not have the right timing there. That plasma gun had enough bullets in the mag to continue spraying on for days. It just didn't help the fact that the assault rifles are now doing more damage to those glue walls. Glue wall melters are very useful, but the assault rifles will bring them down in no time as well.
Zyro actually making a rotation down to the southeastern side and run straight into BRU. So that's going to be some information given over to the team. Instant revive for Onyx. Nothing much was lost in the process. Zaru opts to drop back to command post, even using the Dinoculus. As we turn our attention to Mammoth, that's where Red Hawks escape to. They will be near Pain Gaming as Movistar R7 takes on Falcons.
Great recovery here for Red Hawks. The double revival will still keep them in play. R7, no Riptide Rhythm's gonna block him. The Chrono popped instantaneously. Doesn't take any damage whatsoever on fire. Backs away to the rest of his team members as Della is found. Peter with the aggression on fire though. Misses by a single second. Circles around, finds another window, calls for backup into Roro as well. Electrotherapy on play, but it's not enough. On fire though, keep the squad in play. On the drop of the M590. And the pickup is not too troublesome at all. Falcons making quick work of Movistar.
Yeah. Games King try, he really did. Joker was able to run away to confinement. There is a vending machine there. They should have the coins to get a revive going. AGAL not doing that well. Cypher and Barrows removed from the equation as most now. Then actually a bit of a ricochet. Dew able to jump away. Can they pluck him out of the skies? Dew is going to land, but General and Haone is on the case, trying to go for a swim. That first one is going to miss. Shooting fish in the barrel. Dew makes it to dry land, but Los continues the pursuit.
Good double glue wall, and Dew sends the response. He's got the M82P. Riptide Rhythm breaks down the defense. General! One more shot required, and Dew missing the final opportunity. Haone stepping on out. Dew taking on two players at the same time, but not enough glue walls to keep him safe for long. Dew finally is sacrificed, but bought the squad enough time so the rest of them could get away.
Saved by a tree, General. Ducking behind nature to keep himself in the running. Dew going down. Puts AGAL at once more another precarious position. Sure, the revives come true, but they've lost big weaponry. Vision System, the second place finisher in the previous round, now finds themselves head to head with Dragons Esports, the two teams that both Gideon and Tash mentioned earlier on in the head to head.
Dragons not too far away from the top 12. But once again, the teams that they're going up against here in the bottom 6 are mostly from Groups A and C who are in play today. Alpha 34, the one squad that can't do much about their position. Hot shots as well. So 2 spots guaranteed. In order to make more, they need to push Fluxo out of the leaderboard here as well. And that is most definitely going to take a massive amount of points. Vision System, I wonder if this miracle play can continue for them though.
It's looking more and more possible for sure.
Yeah.
But the consequences of that would be pushing up Fluxo means that Hotshot is guaranteed to not qualify.
Oh yeah.
Because they are the next on the list, they're next on the chopping block.
I think it's pretty much guaranteed already. Hotshots are not going to be making a 2-point rush. They're just way too close to the bottom of the leaderboard. And the rest of the teams don't really need all that too much. For example, Dragons, they only need about 20 points to catch up.
Yeah, 20 points.
That's not a lot. I mean, Dragons in the previous game, massive stuff. Getting to that final circle, 6 eliminations, it's going to be more than good enough for them. They just need to do that, and they've got 4 chances to do so, right? So I'm hoping EMEA gets a shot here at Point Rush. Doesn't matter what they pull away from the Grand Finals. Seeing them there at Point Rush and Grand Finals itself is going to be absolutely fantastic.
And it gives them a chance to win the whole thing with the Champion Rush format too.
Amen.
We've seen that happen firsthand with Onyx.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from Onyx, they definitely are doing slightly better than they did in their first day of match. But I think it's also fair to say that if Dragons make it through, this is going to be the first time in a grand final setting we have someone from a less mentioned region.
Yeah.
That would be historical.
Absolutely. I mean, they are pretty much the favorites at this point of time for many of them in Saudi Arabia. Can you imagine after this competition, Dragons Esports finds themselves a little bit of a bigger sponsor, maybe one that has got a hub here at the Boulevard itself.
We've seen Twisted Minds pick up the roster of the current Virtus Pro last year, right? Not the greatest run, but it is a possibility.
Falcons may be taken already by this squad that we see in front of us, but Twisted Mind still waiting for a team to be worthy so they can pick one up. But Games King walking away. Movistar R7 in a lot of trouble. Limit VSS in hand, got the rate of fire, and switches out to the M590 just to dodge it. What a riptide rhythm, courtesy of Limit, going 2 for 2 there.
2 for 0, so much commitment from the side of Movistar R7. You can't blame them. They needed to stay in the round, and they know that they have to play distraction. So that 2 revives early on is going to carry on the legacy of R7 in this round. But for Team Falcons, they've definitely found their mojo. 7 eliminations and counting, and confinement. Plenty of time to loot things up. The blue is closing in, but it doesn't really affect Falcons too much just yet.
Limit is super rich at this point of time. 2,900 coins in his pocket. Falcons are coin rich in case anything does go south for the squad. Finding a recovery isn't going to be that big of a problem, but finding a recovery on a map like Kalahari late game is going to be a massive issue for sure. So Falcons need to stop flirting around outside the safe zone and make it into the circle. But when they get to Bayfront, they should bump into R7 once again. RRQ, on the other hand, is sneaking around, just making good use of the lower ground. And this is a smart play from RRQ. They're anticipating for the circle to land somewhere around here, and the final circle to get to the spot where RRQ is at. The probability is extremely high.
And I do wonder what is going to be RRQ's next move, right? We saw a couple of Dinoculars. RRQ got scanned out, Red Horse got scanned out, and now a third one on the map that we're seeing. Dragons Esports also got spotted out. Onyx just flew in. AGAL, though, will be the ones that we're focusing on. It's Pain Gaming against them, and sadly, Barros didn't really get a chance to fight back. He tried to be the hero early on, and this time he will just be a past memory. Pain Gaming finding 2 easy pickoffs, and AGAL, I feel like we've seen this storyline before. He picks himself back up, but puts down the portal, tries to go for the buffer, couldn't make it through in time. He really tried, but he just could not escape Motovia.
Yeah, no glue wall there to make a miraculous play happen for himself. A tad bit unfortunate. Had the horizon line in hand. We were about to see a miracle play courtesy of Dew. One of the best snipers in the past, just hasn't been hitting those sharp shots recently.
That will free up the path for rotation for Pain. They are pretty deep out into the circle. Another scan for the Dinoculus early on reveals where Red Hawk is. I feel like I could say it could be from Pain, because that's the most direct path into the circle. If you try to circle around the northern side, then crossing the refinery, it's going to take too long with the siren blaring.
Raone surely on the move, looking for Russia's #1 spot in terms of being the deadliest guy out there on the battlefield. Not too far away from getting that done. Vision system from up top. Beautiful knock onto Joker. That's not going to be enough to stop the pace of the squad. For the time being, though, nobody else has got the elevation to deal with Vision system. But a couple of hook guns and a couple of jumps later, Vision System's going to be in a lot of trouble. But for the time being, the circle looks for them. Great positioning from the squad.
The biggest winner right now on the map is actually Los. They are uncontested, coming in from the northern side. And they can get a free entry if they want.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the team, it's about to get incredibly bloody. We are almost 12 minutes in, and we still have 11 full squad. And to fight at the eastern side of the refinery, a couple of structures, high-rise structures, but plenty of open ground.
We also spotted Los using the Dinoculars, managing to scan out 4 players on the side of Movistar R7, so they do know that if they make a straight beeline for the safe zone here, they're going to be in a little bit of trouble, but all thanks to the elevation that Kalahari presents. They play the cliffs to their advantage. They maintain cover as they approach the other squads. Buriram, on the other hand, one might expect them to break a leg with that fall, but once again, thanks to the hook gun, which is pretty much cheap and available for everyone. Moshi not allowing Nejat to get away. Boonjame chipping in as well. Wasana fighting Exposi. Virtus Pro back away, Buriram says.
And this is just, again, showing us how experienced BRU players are. That decision to take fire was so quick and decisive. And Moshi landing those initial shots, that is what's going to make the difference in these crucial moments. BRU now rotates forward. They're going to make a bit of detour towards the western side of the map and try to cut through from that compound, from that area. But it will put them in the crosshairs of Pain Gaming and RRQ.
Buriram has not looked dangerous in a while. waiting for that prime time to strike, and I wonder when that would be. Onyx, the only team eliminated thus far, and Red Hawks are very close to the exact same fate. But Moshi, Wasana, both going down. Pain Gaming delivering the hurt. Motovia with the sharp shots from across. Get High desperately hanging on. Has got the M79. Needs another grenade to wreck the chances of Peter here.
Yeah, Jonah is going to try and help, but Get High is going to be knocked down by Noda. And BRU once more collapsing in the hands of Pain Gaming, as they pay the price of 2 members, but at least they're still in it to win it.
Unbelievable stuff. Buriram in the 9th spot. There's a high probability they get eliminated if they keep up this slow pacing for themselves. If we don't see an aggressive version of Buriram, they are probably not going to be at point rush. But look at Lost, circling on in. Falcons in trouble, they see the team wide open. Grenade after grenade. Hararal, Howdy, dropping those nades like they hot, and Falcons dropped right when they found them.
Caught completely unaware and given a shallow burial by Lost. The Brazilian champions once more showing us the aggressiveness. Before the show even started, we saw Lost talking about their playstyle.
Yeah.
We see, we shoot, we take down, we eliminate, and we win. And that is how they won the domestic championship. Finished 4th last year on the stage, 3 out of 4 of them. And right now, they're about to make that point once more. Motovia finding Ma'al from up top, VSE with the steal.
Unbelievable stuff out of the Brazilian squads this time round. They all want blood, and they find those points behind those shots. Movistar R7 in a decent spot. Dudes wants revenge. Forced back by the circle. Can't go in there for the extra point. Will focus on their own placement first. Lost on the other hand with a quick reposition. And this is absolutely smooth from the squad. Pain Gaming on the other hand loses Motovia and gets taken out in 7.
And Lost puts themselves in the circle too. They have VP and Dragon Esports to do it, but as long as they take care of teams like Movistar R7, they can stand there forever because Dragon Esports are also preoccupied. Like shooting free target. Welcome to the firing range of Dragon Esports. VSE and RQ having a tough time dealing with this team from the Middle East as Lost locks in their 15-point and counting.
Again, you see Dragon Esports in the top 3, making the top 2, going up against the top dogs of Brazil. Dragon Esports, I don't care, even if they don't walk away with the victory over Lost here, they're winning my heart for sure.
Haone with the grenade.
Down on the ground, Rahone is going to finish this off all with the grenade launcher.
Seafolk does get a trade onto Rigby, but again, you need confirmation. Rigby ends up going down. Lost at 16, 17. Rampage for Haone, 7 under his belt. The aggression for Yasuo, he takes the fight straight to Lost to take a gamble, but it did not pay off. The dice was rolled, but it was Lost that comes out on top. Booyah! Once more, 3 for Lost.
3 for Lost, and the boys have found dominance up on top, and Rahone has found the #1 Predator spot, kicking Russia into the 2nd position with his aggression. Grenade launcher for the win. These boys are launching themselves into the hearts of fans all across the world.
This is impressive. We know that Lost is impressive, but the spotlight is slowly shifting over to Dragons Esports. I think if this run continues, if they do make it, I dare to say it right now, that they deserve a spot among the greats.
Oh, hell yeah, they most definitely do. But we all know how Champion Rush works, baby. The field is open for the play. Even the underdogs of the competition, all they need to do is just sneak into Point Rush, get into the grand finals, hit those 80 points, and walk away with a booyah to call themselves the champions of the Esports World Cup 2025. Free fire dominance right here out of Brazil. The consistency is mind-blowing.
It is. I think for Lost, they have more than proven enough to all of these rounds that they are the ones that has a very good chance of winning the whole thing and finishing the job from last year. But for Dragons Esports, keep your eyes on them, because 3 more rounds and we will find out if they do make history in top 12. We'll send it to a break and we'll be right back with more Free Fire action.
Quadra kill. This land is calling.